M4 modern weapon system. From long range, medium range,
I'm out. Need ammo.
and everything in between.
Objective Charlie 1. Under our control.
What's up, guys? Rocky Tactics here, and I've got another weapon guide, and this time it's on probably my favorite, the M4 modern weapon system. This, my friends, is the M4 in World War III. And honestly, I absolutely fucking love this weapon. I'm a sucker for AR-15s anyway. I just love the platform. I think they look sleek, they look cool, they're, you know, obviously iconic in American culture, and it's an M4. It's modular, you know, it's fun, it's customizable. The M4 has pretty much proved itself to me to be the most competent AR at pretty much any situation. You can pretty much kit it to do anything. You can run a shorter barrel for it to be more like, you know, a short barrel rifle, an SBR, you know, more of a submachine gun kind of setup, more of an indoor setup. You can run the standard and kind of do a lot of everything except for stretching out too entirely far, or you can do what I opted to do and essentially turn it into a fully automatic M16, which got me feeling like Lord Miles a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Weapons, this is your prize right here. Very good. Oh, a lot of fun.
The reason that I like the M4, and it comes with its cons, by the way, it is not a perfect weapon. It kind of has a lot of recoil, and early on, it's kind of hard to control, and you definitely have to level it up. I want to say around level 40 to really get its full potential, but it is a good weapon most of the time because of how versatile it is and because of how much different stuff you can do with it and the modularity and the customization. It towers over a lot of other options in the assault rifle category. As I said, even the most popular options, which are probably the M416, the Barrel 7.62, and the MSBS K, because it's so accessible to pretty much every player, you have it from level 1. It is much better than a lot of the more popular picks in the assault rifle category. And I think that that's due to its really high recoil early on in the progression tree. I think that a lot of people haven't leveled it up enough to get its full potential. And there's a certain way that you can kit it, and I personally opted to kind of use it like a full auto M16, which I found to be the best way to do it. Another kind of cool way I found to do it was the M4 standard barrel with the ACOG. I think that kind of keeps it versatile as well, but there's a lot of ways you can run it, and I don't think that people have unlocked enough of the attachments for it to run it in the ways that it is most effective. So it's a lot easier to use something like the Barrel 7.62 or the M4 early on in its progression tree, because they're, you know, the M4 is so controllable, it doesn't really matter what attachments you have on it, and the Barrel 7.62 hits like an absolute truck. So it's a lot easier to use those earlier on in their progression. Another one of the reasons that it's one of my favorite weapons is it's so insanely lightweight. The AR-15 platform is historically an extremely light weapon platform, and that is definitely translated into World War III. Now, is it quite as light as one of my another one of my favorite rifles, which is the K2C1? I wouldn't say it's quite as light as the K2C1. It's 4 bars instead of 3, so it's not as extremely lightweight as that weapon is, but 4 weight is still extremely light, and you can run it with your anti-tank setups. And as I have said before in a lot of my other weapon reviews, I'm a strong advocate of you guys running the anti-tank setups. There's so many people complaining about vehicles. You go on all chat, almost every other TAC Ops game, people are super excited for FUBAR, which is essentially infantry conquest. And I think that that's mostly because people do not use the tools given to them to get rid of a lot of the vehicles. And I think that's mostly because people just want to use assault rifles. They want to use battle rifles. They want to use the high-powered primary weapons. And I think that I want to provide you guys with some options in those categories that will keep you still helping your team. You know, World War III is not a game about racking up kills. It's all about helping your team. It's all about team play. It's all about objective play. And a good way to do that is to play anti-vehicle, is to play the objective. And I think that the QBZ is a little heavy, but the K2C1 and the M4 and even the MSBSK isn't entirely too heavy to run an anti-tank setup with. And I definitely think a lot of you guys should do that. I think that that's a good thing for the game. We don't have enough players getting rid of vehicles. So I like to give you guys options and ways to do that in your game. I like to inform. That's part of the reason I do these videos. Now you may ask, well, how did you set it up? And that, kids, is a great question. Let's talk about that, as I usually do in live commentary format. All right, we're back with another live comm. I usually like to do my loadout stuff live because there's certain things that I got to explain, you know. So firstly, I think I've mentioned before, I'm a enjoyer of the ARX sights. The 2-time and the 3-time are both great optics in this game, so I went with that. But I'm not here to tell you exactly how to kit your weapon. You guys, the beauty of World War III is that you can play the game how you want. You can kit your weapon however you want. You can use whatever sights, barrels, lasers, magazine attachments you want. So feel free to experiment with every single weapon that I've ever done a weapon guide on, because that is the whole point of the gunsmith. But with that being said, I ran the ARX 3-time, and a common theme with a lot of the builds that I do on this game, I hate trying to control horizontal recoil. I think horizontal is terrible. So a lot of the time, most of the time, I'm going to eliminate horizontal recoil from my weapon. So a lot of the time, if there's a new gun and you don't know what to do with it, if there's something that you're not entirely sure what to do with, you haven't done a lot of testing. In my testing with this weapon, the classic vertical that decreases horizontal and the AK-15 comp, which is probably my favorite muzzle attachment in the game, are pretty much the way to go here. Now, the barrel is the interesting part. Now, I've pretty much tried out all of these. The SD is very interesting. It's fun to use, but I don't think that it's the best way to run the M4. The standard is a good way to do it. It works. It works pretty much all the time. It's not terrible. The compact, there's entirely too much recoil. Unless you're going to run like a drum mag in like just completely bullet hose people, maybe a hip fire build or a super close range build, then you can use the compact. But it's completely useless to me because the recoil is insane, and the whole point of the M4 is to be versatile, is to be the modern weapon system, right? MWS. So I went with the marksman, and I went with the marksman for this specific reason. And there is certain holes in the way World War III is designed. It's interesting that I can have a full length, essentially 20-inch M16 in full auto and gain no weight, right? So to me, it makes perfect sense because you're not making the gun heavier, really. It says that it decreases short range damage. Trust me, you're not going to notice that. But it says that it increases long range damage. Trust me, you're going to notice that. It also is going to decrease your sway and your recoil. It's going to decrease your sway by 10% and your recoil by 5%. This makes this gun an absolute laser beam for pretty much anywhere. You can hip fire, spray, bullet hose a guy with it. You can medium range, completely knock a guy's block off, completely knock his helmet off and hit him in the face. You can put this thing in single fire and have a pretty competent, like, low cal DMR, admittedly, but you can spam this thing in single fire and pretty much deal with almost no recoil. So this is pretty much the way that I ran it, and I kept the laser for point shooting. I think that the point shooting mechanic is a great thing in the game, and I try to use it whenever I see applicable. So that's my setup for the M4. It's essentially just an M16. So do with that information as you will. With all that being said, that's pretty much my weapon guide on the M4. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment, and let me know what other weapons you guys want to see. I know that I'm doing a lot of the ARs mostly because they're so popular with the player base, but if there's maybe some SMGs, like I know the Vityaz gets use from time to time, the sniper rifles, the MPX, the 870 MCS shotgun, is a very interesting one. Maybe even the Glock. Maybe I'll do a sidearm. The Glock is a very interesting case of a sidearm. There are other weapons that I can do. So if you guys want to see any of those, drop those in the comment section. There are other weapon guides that I've done, mostly on assault rifles. So you can go to my channel and check those out as well. But I'm out. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
From me,